Manchester United are in talks to let 4 players leave in the remaining weeks of the window. Bruno Fernandes signs new mega contract at Manchester United, making him the highest earner. And Mazaraoui and Ligt set to fly to Manchester tomorrow for their medicals. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 1,000 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. Make sure you get involved. It's completely free content and everyone is welcome. Right, let's get straight on into it then. And what I want to do to start the show off is I want to react to the Bruno Fernandes story because I put a question out on my Twitter earlier on today. If you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, make sure you head on over and get involved. I've been very, very active on there over the last couple of days. So yeah, if you want to have more in-depth conversation with me, Twitter is the place to do it. The URL is just Daily Red Devil. Type that in on Twitter and you'll find us. And I want to start with Bruno Fernandes. Because obviously earlier on today, we got the confirmation that Bruno has signed a new 4-year contract at Manchester United. I want to get your opinions on this. Like, how do you feel about this? Do you think Bruno should be given a new contract? Do you think that's the right decision? I've seen some mixed opinions on Twitter today and just in the general kind of Manchester United fan base. And I want to hear what you guys think. Like, would you give Bruno Fernandes a new contract? I will read you out the facts before I give you my opinion. So this is coming from Fabrizio. He says, Manchester United have reached an agreement with Bruno Fernandes to extend his contract. It says the new deal will be valid until June 2027, plus the option of a further year, taking him until 2028. So it's a 4-year contract. And it says that his salary will now be the top Manchester United level, which will be the same as Casemiro, around 350k a week. He says that it's all set to be signed before the end of the transfer window. So he hasn't actually signed it yet, but they have agreed the deal. Manchester United have agreed this with Bruno Fernandes. How does everybody feel about that? Get in the comment section now. Let me know your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes' contract. Like, I'm going to be honest. I think Bruno Fernandes deserves it. I'm just going to say that from the off. I think he 100% deserves it. He's 100% our best player. And as it stands at the moment, Mason Mount is paid more than Bruno Fernandes. Jadon Sancho is paid more than Bruno Fernandes. Marcus Rashford is paid more than Bruno Fernandes. And Casemiro is paid more than Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is always available. He always works hard. And technically, he is our best player. He is. Think about it. Think of all the amazing things that Bruno Fernandes has done. Whereas all of those other players that I've listed, Mason Mount and Jadon Sancho have never done anything amazing, really, for Manchester United. Marcus Rashford's had a couple of amazing seasons, definitely. And Casemiro was decent in his first year. But other than that, Bruno Fernandes has been consistent. He really, really has. And I think that he receives a lot of criticism from rival fans. And that's just because they're jealous of him. He's an absolutely unbelievable player. And I would even go as far as saying that Bruno Fernandes is arguably our only world-class player. And even then, maybe that's a push. Maybe Martinez as well, maybe. But I think Bruno Fernandes is 100% our best player. And I think making him the highest earner is definitely the correct decision. But let me know what you guys think. He's 29 years of age. By the time his contract expires, he will be 33. So he will be 33, earning 350k a week at Manchester United. But I'll be honest, I don't think that's the end of the world, really. Because if you think about it, right, Casemiro is 32 and he's earning that amount of money. And he's got 2 years left on his deal. So I don't think it's a problem. What I will say is this, though. After Bruno Fernandes leaves the club in 3 or 4 years, like, we never can pay 350k a week again wages. Unless we're winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, 350k is way too much to be finishing 8th. And for him to be rewarded with a 350k a week contract when we finished 8th last season, if he wasn't our best player and his stats wasn't amazing year on year, I would be here scratching my head. I would. But when you look at the other players in this team, it's our own fault. You know, we gave Marcus Rashford this massive new deal a couple of seasons ago on 300,000 a week. We gave Jadon Sancho 250k a week, and we gave Varane and Casemiro 350k a week as well. So imagine you're Bruno Fernandes, right? You're always available. You work hard. You know, he is easily the best player. And he deserves the most money, without a shadow of a doubt. And he's the captain, as somebody says in the chat. He is the captain as well. Ashley says that apparently he's on 375k a week. I haven't seen that anywhere, but let me know where you've seen that and I'll go and have a look. And as well, I think something that's really quite important with Bruno Fernandes is by doing this, we are preserving his value, because Bruno Fernandes is probably our most sellable player. he's our most valuable player on paper, without a shadow of a doubt, isn't he? And if you look at his current deal, right, he's got 2 years left on his current deal at the moment, and they've effectively given him an extra year. So it's not actually that much more. It's not like we've given him a 6-year contract. He had 2 years left, and we've given him 3 years, just on bigger wages. So that's all that's really happened here. We've given him an extra year's contract and given him more money. I have no problem with it. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Like, are you happy with Bruno Fernandes' new contract? I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you know, we should go for someone like Musiala. We should go for someone like Florian Wirtz. Like, I think that definitely could be an option a little bit further down the line. But at the moment, Bruno is our man. He's our best player. He makes things happen on the pitch. And the fans love him. Every time I go to Old Trafford, like, the Manchester United fans are literally singing Bruno's name constantly. He is a real fan favourite, I think. And I know that some people have this, like, this feeling towards Bruno that sometimes he loses the ball carelessly. Sometimes, you know, he tries to do the Hollywood pass every time he gets the ball. But overall, I think Bruno Fernandes is a very, very good player. And I'm really, really happy that he's been given this new contract. Somebody in the chat saying, yes, Martinez is also world class. Yeah, I probably would say that Lisandro Martinez is world class on his day. I'd say he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. My only kind of issue with Martinez, right? And I love Martinez. He's genuinely my favourite player at the whole club. If Lisandro Martinez stays fit this season, I think he goes into the world-class category without a shadow of a doubt. But at the moment, I think after last season, there are some concerns about Lisandro Martinez, of course. In the last 2 years, Martinez has missed 67 games through injury. If you compare that with Ligt, right, who some of the people in this fan base seem to think is injury prone, it is crazy. I was looking at this comparison earlier on today. I think I spoke about it on my morning show, right? You look at De Ligt's injuries last season. In the last 2 years, De Ligt has missed 25 games through injury. And there are some people in this fan base that were saying that makes him injury prone, right? Martinez has missed 67 games through injury in the last 2 years at Manchester United. Nearly 3 times the amount of games. But nobody seems to call him injury prone, do they? So, yeah, I think if Martinez can stay fit this season and he has another good year, I definitely think he goes into that world-class category. And as I said, I love Martinez. He's genuinely my favourite player. My favourite players are, if anybody cares, I'm just going to tell you anyway. My favourite 3 players are Martinez, Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho. Those are my 3 favourites. And you're probably thinking like, well, you've just been bigging up Bruno. Why haven't you said Bruno? Bruno's not one of my favourites, to be honest. I like him, but he's not my favourite. Martinez, I love. Garnacho, I love. And Kobe Mainoo, I love. I'd say probably Bruno was my 4th favourite, and then I'd say Ahmad is 5th. Those are kind of like my, you know, my favourites right there. Whereas everybody else in the team, I don't know, I'm not that fussed about, to be honest. Being completely honest, you know, you haven't asked me the question, I've just said it. But yeah, those are my 5 favourite Manchester United players in that order. So yeah, Bruno Fernandes, new deal. I've got no problem with it. I think it makes sense. And yeah, let's hope that this season... Let's hope that this season is a good year for Bruno. Let's hope that we win another trophy. Let's hope that he can take us to a Champions League next year. You know, let's hope that he can take us to a Premier League. Like, that's what we have to achieve. If you're paying somebody 350k a week, you want to be seeing the biggest trophies. You want to be winning Premier Leagues. Like, that has to happen, you know? But yeah, really, really happy about that one. And welcome to all the new people in the chat today. I can see loads of new names. We've got loads and loads of new followers on Twitter, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, welcome to everybody who's come over from Twitter. I hope you are doing well. We're live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6. So if there's anybody new here today who has only just found this channel or you've not yet subscribed or whatever, yeah, make sure you come and say hello, get in the chat. We've got a really, really friendly community here, so make sure you get involved. Okay, let's move on from Bruno Fernandes, though. You can keep getting your comments in, and I will read some out a little bit later on in the show. And I want to talk about some players who are set to leave the club this summer, because we've had some massive stories being reported since we spoke earlier on today. And it looks like 4 players are going to leave the club over the next week or 2. And I'm going to go through all 4 of them really, really quickly, and we can kind of all give our opinions and we can all have a bit of a chat about it. So the first one is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That's the obvious one. He is doing his medical today in London. I think there was some sort of delay with it. I saw earlier on today. He was meant to be doing his medical at 4, but I think it's been pushed back a bit. But there has been confirmation that Wan-Bissaka has travelled to London and will complete his medical today. So that's really, really positive. And then we have 3 other players that we've had massive stories break on today since obviously we've been live. Sorry, since we were last live. And this is coming out from a couple of different people. The person who I first saw report it was a guy called Sam. His name's Sam C on Twitter. Seems to get some quite good information around Manchester United. And he is reporting that apparently Pellistri is looking at going to Bologna in Italy. I think that would be a great move for Pellistri. The thing with Pellistri is, right, he's not a bad player. I just don't think he is a Manchester United quality player, to be honest. And we're so stacked in those wings that I just don't see how he's going to play. He's 22 now. He's not young anymore. He turns 23 in a couple of months. Like, he's not young anymore. He just simply isn't. When you think that Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho are still like teenagers, aren't they? And we've just signed Lenny Yoro, who's 18 and is going to be starting every game when he's fit. Like, Pellistri isn't young anymore. 22, 23. He needs to be playing regular first-team football. And he's not going to get that at Manchester United. So I hope that he gets his move to Bologna. I think that would be a really, really good deal for Pellistri. Obviously, they're playing Champions League football next season. So, yeah, that would be a great move for him. Obviously, we've already done a deal with them for Joshua Zirkzee. So it should be a relatively easy deal to do. We'll probably owe the money still from Joshua Zirkzee as well. So, yeah, hopefully that one gets done, because I just think Pellistri is going to be wasted at Manchester United. He's never going to play. Ahmad deserves the game time. And when you think that we signed Pellistri with all of this hope, all of this excitement, and effectively he's just not had his opportunity. He didn't under Ollie. He hasn't under Erik ten Hag. He didn't under Ralph Rangnick. Like, he's never really had a chance. I feel bad for him. He's not a teenager anymore. He should be playing regular first-team football. And if he can go to Bologna, who are going to be in the Champions League next season, that is an unbelievable opportunity for him. So I hope that this deal goes through. Transfer fee-wise, apparently Manchester United are asking for around £10 million for him, which I think is perfectly reasonable. And that would actually present a profit in the market as well, because we bought him, I think it was about 5 years ago we bought him, wasn't it? Let me just double check. I don't want to get my facts wrong. We bought him in 2021. Sorry, 2020. So we bought him 4 years ago for £8.5 million, which is about 8.5 million euros, which is about six to £7 million. And apparently Man United are asking for 10 million now. So we would make a bit of a profit on him. He's on about 20k a week wages, which would be welcomed to save. It's about £1 million a season in wages. But how does everyone feel about Facundo Pellistri? Like, do you think he should be moved on? Do you think we should keep him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For me personally, Pellistri has to go. Like, he has to go, personally. But I'll be interested to see what other people think. Mark says, but Pellistri is better than Antony. I mean, I don't disagree with you, mate. I don't. I think Pellistri probably is better than Antony, but nobody wants to buy Antony. It's all good and well us sat here today saying, get rid of Antony. But who's going to buy him? Nobody wants to buy Antony. He's on 200 grand a week. We spent 95 million euros on him. It's just a no-goer. I would love for a Saudi club to come along and say, here's 100 million euros for Antony. And we then are laughing. But it's never going to happen. If we were to sell Antony, we'd probably get 20, 30 million tops. And that's probably being kind. He probably is a 20 million pound player, realistically. If you think about it, like, if you really, really take your red tinted glasses off, I honestly think we'll be lucky to get more than 20 million for Antony at the moment. Like, Antony's just a meme now for a lot of people, you know? Which is a shame, because we spent so much money in him. He had so much promise. But yeah, it just hasn't worked. Just a quick one. We've got over 1,300 people watching the video live now, which is amazing. We've only got 200 likes, though. So if everybody who's watching could do me a small favour and... yeah, if everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. We're just about to hit 36,400 subscribers. So if this is your first time watching, make sure you go and subscribe. I've just dropped a link into the chat. Everybody is welcome. So that's Pellistri. Bologna looks like it's going to be his destination. Obviously, I'll keep you updated as and when more stories come out on that. The next one is Hannibal Mejbri. Again, this is coming out from Sam, who I said was, I think, quite reliable this transfer window, coming out with some good information. And he is reporting that apparently Hannibal is now expected to leave Manchester United. He says there is strong interest from France. We know that supposedly Rangers and Celtic were really, really interested in Hannibal Mejbri. That seems to have gone very, very quiet. Yeah, I don't know. I think Hannibal's even further down the pecking order. I think there's more of a debate around Pellistri. You know, Pellistri has been good. I think he has a lot of talent. Whereas with Hannibal Mejbri, I just don't really see it. I think he's got the right attitude. I think he's got that aggression. But quality-wise, I'm not sure if it's there. I don't know if he has the quality to be a Manchester United player, Hannibal Mejbri. And again, it's not like he's young. It's not like he's, a 16, 17-year-old who could develop and become better. I think he turns 22 this year, Like, he's not a teenager anymore. He had a really bad loan at Sevilla. I remember that was like one of the most awful loans in kind of our recent history. He went to Birmingham. He did okay at Birmingham, but I mean, that's a championship level club, like a mid-table championship level club. So that doesn't really say too much about him. Transfer fee-wise, Manchester United are apparently asking for something similar to what we're asking for Pellistri. So around 10 million, which would actually be, unfortunately, the same amount of money we gave Monaco. So we bought Hannibal Mejbri 5 years ago from Monaco for 10 million euros. We obviously thought he was going to become a world-class player, and it just hasn't worked out for Hannibal at Manchester United. And again, I wish him all the best. I think at the age of 22, you need to be playing regular football, and he's not going to get that at Manchester United. He's got 1 year left on his contract. There's no talk of a new deal, so Hannibal leaving makes a lot of sense. So yeah, let's definitely get that one over the line. If we can get Hannibal and Pellistri out, that could potentially be 20 million in the bank there. And that could then go and be reinvested. You could go and get Sander Berg. You could go and get Manuel Ugarte. Maybe you try and get a striker towards the end of the window, Like, there are plenty of options we could do with that money. So I'm feeling quite confident that Manchester United will get these deals over the line. And yeah, so we should get some, more confirmation on that very, very soon. And then the final player that I want to talk to you about today is Victor Lindelof. The same journalist is saying that Victor Lindelof's exit is also advancing with strong interest from overseas. Apparently, Victor Lindelof is attracting interest from the Saudi clubs and also the clubs in Italy. So it looks like he probably will be leaving Manchester United. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Victor Lindelof's been here for 7 years. That's mad, isn't it? 7 years we've had Lindelof at this club. I think it's time to move him on. 1 year left on his deal. He's not getting a new contract. This is the time to sell him. Apparently, Manchester United are asking for around £6 to £9 million for Victor Lindelof, which I think is probably fair. I think we'd be very, very lucky to get much more than £6 to £9 million for Victor Lindelof at this point. But I'll be honest with you, all of those players that I've just mentioned, I think need to be sold. Wan-Bissaka is as good as gone. Lindelof, definitely sell. Hannibal, definitely sell. I think the only potential question mark is Pellistri. I like Pellistri. I think he has some qualities. I just don't see how he's going to get into the team, especially when you've got Ahmad there, you've got Garnacho, you've got Rashford, and you've also got Anthony. I know Anthony's not very good, but we need to try and make Anthony work, Selling Anthony now is just a recipe for disaster. He's on massive wages, and we paid 95 million euros for him. So if we sold him now, we're 100% going to make a massive loss. Huge loss, which I think will actually massively impact our financial fair play issues. So I think for that reason alone, Anthony's probably going nowhere unless a huge offer comes in from like a Saudi club. Again, you never know in football, though. Crazy things can happen. Maybe later on in the window, somebody comes in and Anthony ends up leaving. That could happen, but I just think it's very, very unlikely. And then the next one is Scott McTominay. So Fabrizio Romano came out earlier on today saying that apparently Casemiro is going nowhere as it stands. It looks like Casemiro will be staying, but Scott McTominay looks like he will be leaving the club this summer. It still looks like it's going to be Fulham who go for him. Manchester United need to sell in order to buy Manuel Ugarte. So if we can't sell McTominay, we can't get Ugarte pretty much. That's what the kind of narrative is today, that we desperately need to sell McTominay in order to bring through Manuel Ugarte. And you know what? I think that has to happen. McTominay is 27 now. He's not like a teenager anymore. He's not a young player who's breaking through. Scott McTominay should be in his prime. And I don't think he's really improving, to be honest. I think as a midfielder, I think he's just the same as he was 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know? Going forward, he has been contributing goals. He's caused some impact off the bench. But for a player who turns 28 in a couple of months and only has 1 year left on his contract, the alternative is that Manchester United give him a huge new deal, 3-4 year contract on massive wages. And I just don't think that's a sensible thing to do. I know he's a fan favourite amongst some people. They like the fact that he's come through the youth academy. They like the fact that he always tries his best. He works hard. Like, he never complains. There's never any off-field drama. Like, I get all of that. And I think he is a model professional, but I'm just not convinced that he has the quality for Manchester United, to be honest, from what I've seen of him. Maybe he can prove us wrong. You know, maybe McTominay has an unbelievable season this year, but I just don't see it personally. And as it stands at the moment, the likelihood of selling Casemiro is very, very small. So, yeah, I think McTominay is the one to watch. And that was effectively what Fabrizio Romano said this morning, that the one we need to watch is McTominay. So, yeah, hopefully Fulham come back in with a bid. Whether or not that will happen, who knows? But I've got my fingers and toes crossed, because I know that McTominay leaving will then facilitate a deal for Manuel Ugarte, which I think is absolutely essential. Like, we desperately need to strengthen that CDM position. I'm very, very happy with our centre-back options. I'm happy with Mazaraoui. I'm happy with Ligt, Lediyoro, Martinez. I'm even happy with Maguire, to be honest. Like, Maguire isn't a bad player. In the right setup, Maguire is decent. And I think in certain games, Maguire will actually be useful. Like, if we want to see out a game and there's 20 minutes left, bring on Maguire, go to a 5-back. I think you're pretty sorted there, because he's very good aerially, he's very strong. And if you're playing more defensively later on in a game, having Harry Maguire on the bench is absolutely perfect. So no one's going to buy Maguire. So I'm trying to spin a positive on this. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Nobody's going to buy him. So I think for this last year, we've got to try and make the most of Harry Maguire. Whereas at least with Victor Lindelof, he has a resale value. He could go to Italy, Victor Lindelof, and he'd do really, really well. So, yeah. People are saying, what's going on with Marcus Rashford, mate? Nothing's going on with Rashford. He's not going anywhere. Whether you want Rashford to stay or go, like, we need to back Marcus Rashford. We need to get behind him. He's going nowhere. The same with Harry Maguire. He's going nowhere. Whether you want Harry Maguire to be here or not is irrelevant, to be honest, because no one's going to buy him. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's on massive wages. So we just need to get behind Harry Maguire. We need to get behind Marcus Rashford and hope that they can bring us some success this season, because that's all we can do. Every week, if we're just sat here complaining about Rashford and Maguire, it's going to get us nowhere. So, yes. All right, there's some breaking news here about Wan-Bissaka. Hopefully this isn't a problem. So let me just read out what's just broken literally in the last couple of seconds. This is coming from Sky Sports. So Sky Sports have just reported that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is still finalising his exit terms from Manchester United. It says that a medical was due to happen today, but it has now been delayed. It said he is still expected to travel to London later this evening as those terms are nearly finalised. Blah, blah, blah. And then Sky Sports have also just said, while West Ham wait, interest continues in alternatives, including Newcastle's Kieran Trippier and FC Bayern's Mazaraoui. What? West Ham agreed a 20 million deal for Mazaraoui, only to pull out to focus on Wan-Bissaka. United's deal for Mazaraoui is dependent on Wan-Bissaka going. What the hell are Sky Sports talking about? So effectively what's going on here, right? Sky Sports are trying to spin a narrative that the Wan-Bissaka deal's falling through. That's effectively what they're trying to do. It's complete rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Like, they're literally just trying it. Why in any world would West Ham now just go back in for Mazaraoui? They've agreed a deal for Wan-Bissaka. Manchester United will pay Wan-Bissaka the money. Apparently he wants £5 million. Give him his £5 million and let him leave. Like, it's pretty simple. And it's just typical Sky Sports. It's typical mainstream media trying to spin a narrative that the Wan-Bissaka deal is falling through. That's what they're trying to do. And we just have to... I don't know why I even read it out. It just baited me whilst I was live. I don't know why they do it. Well, I do know why they do it. They do it to try and get reactions, and they've got my reaction. I've just read it out, everyone in the chat has just heard me mention Sky Sports. They're not reliable, as most people say. Like, we very, very rarely even reference Sky Sports as a source, because it's just 90% of the time what Sky Sports say is just like information that they've got from someone else. It's like regurgitated information, you know? It's not reliable. It's not good. So, yeah, I apologize for scaring everybody there, but I was literally looking on my feed and I seen Sky Sports pop up with that story, and I was like, what? Like, where's this even come from? There's nobody else reporting it. No Fabrizio, no David Ornstein. Like, literally... literally just Sky Sports. They're just fishing. They're hoping that something's going on because he hasn't been announced yet. It's just complete crap. We've got over 1,400 people in the show now. We've only got 400 likes though. If everyone could do me a little favor and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. And if this is your first time watching, please do make sure to subscribe as well. It's completely free content. We're live at 8:30, 1:30 and 6. I've just dropped a link into the chat, so make sure you go and subscribe right now. We've set a likes target of 1,000 for this video, so we can definitely do it if everybody goes and likes. Liam says, how do you personally define world class? For me, it means you're in conversation to make a world 11 in your position, so I wouldn't say Martinez or Bruno are world class. That's a good question. How would I define world class? I just see it as one of the best in the world. That's how I see it. I don't think it has to be as black and white as would they get in the best team in the world. I think they just have to be in that bracket of, like, put it this way, right? If you had the best squad in the world, right? 20, 30 players, I think Martinez and Bruno Fernandes would be in that squad. Whether or not they start is another question, but I'm pretty sure that Bruno and Martinez would get into a world-class squad. So including the bench, including the reserves, they would be in that squad, definitely. That's how I kind of see it, you know, the best 20, 30 players in the world. So, yeah, but you let me know, like, how do you define world-class? Because if you're saying there's only 11 world-class players in the world, then that makes it really, really difficult to kind of predict, doesn't it? I think. But yeah, you can let me know what you think. Like, what defines world-class for you? I'd be interested to hear. What else have we got? So he spoke about Bruno Fernandes. Some positive news. Obviously, Mazaraoui and Ligt are going to have their medicals tomorrow. That's been confirmed. They will fly to Manchester. Really excited to see these two players in the Manchester United shirt. And I just hope and pray that we see them against Fulham on the weekend. I think Mazaraoui is the main one for me. I think as long as we've got Mazaraoui at left back or right back, and then we've got Dalot at left back or right back as well, then I think we're all right. Hopefully De Ligt's fit and available. I think he is. Like, he's been at pre-season. Mazaraoui had the whole pre-season. So yeah, hopefully they're both able to feature. But I think the most important one for me is that Mazaraoui is available. It really, really is. Because at the moment, the best option we've got is Martinez at left back, which just, I'll be honest, Martinez needs to be playing at left-sided centre-back, not at left-back. It doesn't suit him. I mean, I know he has played at left-back before, but yeah, I don't want to see Martinez at left-back, to be honest. I just don't think it worked very well against Man City. And he's much better at left-sided centre-back, so yeah. I want to talk a little bit quickly about Mario Hermoso, actually, as well. So there's some breaking news that just dropped in the last couple of minutes from a very reliable Spanish journalist. And he is reporting that the proposal that Mario Hermoso likes the most is the one from Manchester United. He says that contact is still taking place between United and the player. News is expected this week, either good or bad for Manchester United. So it looks like Mario Hermoso to Manchester United could well happen. I would definitely sign him. I think he'd be a really, really good option for Manchester United. We desperately need to strengthen that left-sided centre-back position. And the thing with Mario Hermoso is he can obviously play at left-back as well. So he gives us lots and lots of versatility. I think he'd be a great signing. I do, especially for free. So yeah, Mario Hermoso for me, absolutely essential. Yeah, I would love to see him come to Manchester United. What else have we got? Somebody in the chat saying it wasn't Martinez's fault, it was Harry Maguire and Evans' fault. I mean, that's maybe fair. Maybe fair. What else have we got? Okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's broken since we've gone live, because there usually is lots and lots of news at this time of day that kind of trickles out. So let me just double check if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. So we spoke about Hermosa, we spoke about the Ligt, Mazaraoui. Obviously, we spoke about Victor Lindelof, Pelistri, Hannibal Mejbri. There's loads going on, loads and loads of deals. Yeah, it was just this. Apparently, De Ligt and Mazaraoui have now said their goodbyes to the Bayern Munich teammates, and they will be doing their medicals tomorrow. So that's a massive positive. I hope they'll be in training on Tuesday, but I don't know how long it will take until they can get their visas. If anybody knows in the comment section, let me know. I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I imagine maybe 24 hours, 48 hours. I honestly don't know the answer. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. John says, do you think we'll ever play a back three of Martinez, De Ligt, and Lenny Yoro? Mate, I would love to see that. I would. I like back threes. I don't know why there's all this negativity around back threes. I think it would work really, really well, a back three. And apparently Hermosa is best in a back three. I was talking to my friend who watches like all of the La Liga, and he was saying that Mario Hermosa in a back three is really, really solid. So yeah, I would be down for it. I would have no problem with a back three in certain games. If you're playing at home against like a Luton or, you know, one of the lower teams, then probably not a back three. But if it's, you know, a tough game in a European competition, yeah, I would have no problem with a back three. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It feels like a good time to end the video. I'm going to go and sit in the garden. It's 28 degrees here, which for England is a heat wave. I'm going to go and chill in the garden. If anything breaks later on, I will make sure to go live. I'm going to quickly read this one out. Somebody says, how would you rate our transfer window so far? Ingoings, I'd probably say maybe like a 7 on ingoings. Outgoings, I mean, if Pelistri, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka and Hannibal leave, as well as all the other players, I would say outgoings is probably like an 8 or a 9. So overall, so far, I'd probably say 7.5 out of 10, something like that. It's definitely been better than last summer. I mean, last summer we signed Mason Mount, who nobody really wanted, I don't think. We signed Onana, let's be honest, who didn't have a good season. And we signed Rasmus Højlund, who is quality, but I think we overpaid for 75 million euros we spent on him, which is crazy, crazy money. Whereas this summer, I think every single deal we've done has made sense. Like Lenny Yoro for 42 million was a good deal. Xerxes for 34 was a good deal. Mazaraoui for 13 million, great deal. De Ligt for 38, great deal. And we've got some decent money off the player sale. So yeah, I'd go with 7.5 out of 10 so far for this window overall, including the outgoings. Last summer, I'd say, was probably a 5. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Have a great day, everybody. I'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow. Obviously, if anything breaks, I will go live. Make sure you subscribe before you leave. Make sure you smash a like on the video. And if you want to continue the conversation with me after this video ends, I will be over on Twitter. I've just dropped a link in the chat to my Twitter. It's just Daily Red Devil, so you can go and follow us over there. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.